In this video, we'll be looking at layers. We'll cover what layers are, how to hide and how to show layers, how to delete a layer, how to copy layers, how to change layer order, and also a few other things. So what we'll do, we'll go to File, New. So leave these default settings, click on OK, and this is the image that we'll be working with. Images in Photoshop are made up of many images. Each of these images exists on a different layer. The Layers palette, which is this here, shows us the layers that make up an image. To create a new layer, we click on the New Layer button, which is down here. And if you just let the mouse hover over something, you'll get a little pop-up thing that says Create New Layer. So we'll use that and we'll create one new layer. On this new layer, I'll select the brush and I'll draw some black lines. Created that on to layer 1. Now what I'd like to do is to create a new layer. So I'll click on the create new layer button again and I'll change my color. To change the color, all you do is you click on the color and let's say I'll make it red. So I choose the color that I want and click on OK. Still with the paintbrush selected, I'll draw some dots. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So right now, if we look at our image, what we'll see, we've got a white background, a black line, and also some red dots. If we look over here at the Layers palette, we've got a white background with nothing on it. We've got a black line, a little bit difficult to see, but when you actually go to do it yourself, you'll be able to see it. And also another layer here with red dots. So that's 3 separate parts to the image, all on 3 separate layers. Next, what we'll do is we'll look at hiding some of the lines. So before we go to hide, whenever we make a new layer in Photoshop, it gives it a name: layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and so on. What we want to do is we want it to make sense. So what we'll do is, where we've got the black line, so layer 1, we'll rename that to black line. To do that, what you do is you just double click on the writing. So if we double click, that changes that, and we can type in black line and enter. Once again, to change the red dot, change the layer with the red dots, so layer 2, we double click on layer 2 and we call that red dots. So now we've got our layers and they're all named sensibly. Let's say, for example, we only want to work with the black line, and sometimes what may happen is that the image can get very complicated, and so it's very difficult just to work with one layer. So to do that, what we can do is we can hide the red dots. To hide the red dots, what you do is you click on the eyeball. Click it, the red dots disappear. So that layer is now hidden. We can't do anything to it. It's hidden. It still exists, but we just can't see it. To make it reappear, you click on where the eyeball was. The eyeball reappears and so does the image. You will always know, even if we turn them all off, you'll always know where to click because they line up. It is the furthest little box away from the layers possible. So whichever one we click, whichever layer it's next to, that's the one that reappears. So if we click the one next to the red dots appear. Click the one next to the black lines appear. Click the one next to the background appears. So that's how we hide and display layers. For the next thing we'll do is we'll change the order of the layers. Right now, if we look at the image, we see that we've got red dots over the black line. So the red dots are covering up part of the black line. You may not want that to be the case. So to change that, what we do is we click and drag the layers here. If you look at it, you see the red dots is above the black line. So at the very top of the layer palette is red dots, then the black line, then the background. Same thing with the image. We've got red dots, under the red dots we've got the black line, under the black line we've got the background. To change it, all we do is we click and we drag the layers. So if I click and drag red dots below the black line, you'll see the image change. And there. Now we've got the black line above the red dots. To change it back, you click and drag again. You can't drag anything below the background. You'll see the cursor change into like a quit symbol. We can't do that because the background is the bottom layer. Nothing can go below the background. So that's how we go about changing the order. Another thing we might want to do is we might want to make parts of the image appear faded. By faded, you'll see them kind of disappear. To do that, what we do is we select the layer, and if we select the layer, it turns blue. So right now, red dots is selected. That's the layer we'll be working on. If we had the black line selected, that's the layer we'll be working on. But for now, we'll work on the red dots. Click on red dots, and then click and drag on the word opacity. You'll see the cursor change to a hand with arrows on either side when we go near it. We click and drag left. What you'll see is the dots disappear, start to disappear. Click and drag right, they reappear. So that's how we change the opacity, by clicking and dragging on the word opacity. We can also just enter a number in. If you know the number that you want to set how much you faded, you can do that. You just enter it in directly. That's how we go about changing the opacity on a layer. So that's how we fade it. Next, we'll look at how to copy a layer. Now, for example, if we would like to have some copies of the red dots, all we do is we click that layer and drag down to the new layer button. You'll see the button goes down. If we let go, you'll see a copy of the layer appear. Okay? And it's called red dots copy. And we can do that as many times as we want. Want to do another one? Same thing, click and drag down. And it's called red dots copy too. We can do that with any layer. We want to make a copy of the black line, exactly the same thing. Click and drag. So that's how we go about making copies of layers. Next, since I've made all these copies of layers, I don't necessarily want all of them. So what I can do is delete them. To delete a layer, what you do is you select it, say you make it go blue, and then click on the rubbish bin. There, it says delete layer. Click on it, you'll get a box asking whether you do actually want to delete it or not. Click on yes to delete it. So again, there's another one. Click on the rubbish bin, selected, click on the rubbish bin, press delete. For the other copy, select that, make it go blue, click on the rubbish bin, and click delete. That's about all there is for layers. They're the basics. So hopefully that'll hold you in good stead for doing more things in Photoshop.